Okay, so I'm Blitz Ace, and I wanted to start a podcast and just try and sort of see if I could see what this sort of whole streaming malarkey was about. So I thought I'd get my good friend,
Good's a strong word.
I mean best friend.
There you go.
Is
That's
is
better.
is that a better way to use?
I mean, the more affection you give me, the better I am. I'm not like a cat or a dog, but I do need affection.
I mean, if you're not pandered every now and again, you do
hmm
start getting a little bit moody. So similar
Can
to
be.
a cat, similar
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah, I get that. Yeah, I do require a certain amount of attention and respect. I believe I
And
don't
also,
deserve either of those
if
things.
you're given too much affection, you often, slap someone. So it's like a cat, exactly the same
Okay,
thing.
first of all, I haven't done that for like 20 years, and are we really starting this? Like, hang on, how long have we been recorded for? 1 minute and 7 seconds, and you're already, getting into it. Okay.
We could, because we still haven't officially named the podcast. I mean,
No.
it could just be like, Matt Slap, and just have it as that.
Well, I don't know why we would.
I mean, it might just be down to like, just a denomination of as many different names as we can sort of like list, and then just see what happens.
I mean,
Hey,
our message history is like just full of like this name. No, that's taken. Oh, this would be a good name. No, that's taken.
yeah,
And
but
we just
like
spent 5 minutes googling as well, and like, nope, they were all taken.
to be fair, we've kind of come late in at the game to try and make
That's true.
something from this. So we're just gonna sort of like just be randomly sort of like doing it.
I'm just
Um,
gonna check one as we speak right now because like I think that's like this might be a good one. I'm gonna say, right, everyone has a podcast, and that's it. And
what?
then like that's probably gonna be like taken as well. Everyone has a podcast. That's not taken.
Oh my God, really?
That's not taken. So we're just gonna call it that. Oh,
Yeah.
hang on.
So like
What?
everyone has a podcast. Everyone can have a podcast.
That's it. So now that's what we're gonna be called, I reckon, because it's the only name I found that isn't taken. There's a very close book. There's a book that's very close, but it's not exactly the same. So I think we're fine.
Oh, that's fine then. I
And I
don't
know
think there's any
also
issues
if they
with
go
that.
looking for that book, they're gonna come across our podcast and be like, "Well, these guys know what they're doing." So
I mean, is it a popular book?
I don't know. I didn't look at the sales. I'm not here to review it. I'm not getting paid for this.
I mean, maybe we should just to sort of see if it's close enough that we can actually do a decent review on it and then like boost each other's sales.
It's a guidebook on how to do a podcast. I think it's gonna be fine.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, I could probably have read that book before starting to do this because then I'd actually know what I was supposed to be doing.
Nah, we're from the generation that like just ignored video game manuals. So
No. We didn't ignore them because it had good artwork in it.
oh yeah, but we were like we read the story, the character pages, but we didn't read the instruction bits.
I think
At least I didn't.
no, the only thing I actually did is obviously I remember with Final Fantasy VII, I would try and copy the artwork. I would
Yeah.
always try and copy the. Don't give me
Why is
that,
it always?
or
Why
off
does
the
everything
bat.
always? Why does everything always go back to Final Fantasy VII with you?
It,
Like
it, it
everything.
hasn't gone back to
Like,
it. It
I
started
had a
with it.
like I really have. I had a great sandwich the other day. Do you know what that reminds me of? In Nibelheim in Midgard. There's this sandwich shop in Sector 7. That gets crushed. Like
Whoa,
yeah, and it's like,
it's a
oh
bit
man,
much.
do you know what? I fancy pizza today for tea. He's like, oh yeah, they were called it. There was a track on the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack called like Under the Floating Pizza, and it's like always. Yeah, that's true. I think it's like
Oh my
track 7,
God,
right?
what the hell?
Yeah, yeah,
That's really brutal.
yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, granted, I know
Mm,
that I mention Final Fantasy VII quite often, and it's because I love it so much.
yeah.
Just as much as you love Final Fantasy VIII, you're wrong, but just because you love it so much.
No, it's okay. I mean, Final Fantasy is clearly the better one. It has one more number in it, so we don't want a remake. We don't need a remake.
So, I just want to
It's like
clarify
that
something.
meme of like, it's like
I,
that meme of like, Gondor has no king. Gondor needs no king.
I just want to clarify something. It doesn't have
Yeah.
another number; it has a higher number. So let's just
Okay, if you
clarify
look at it,
that.
all right, Final Fantasy it says V, then 1 and 1, and then 8 has V, 1, 1, and then another 1. So I think if you look at it, we're both right, but more me than you.
Okay, so to clarify, this has got nothing to do with that, and we've kind of segued already in the
We didn't
span
even
of
get to end.
no, we haven't really got far. and we're already sort of like needing to backtrack a little bit to sort of get back on. We haven't even started a topic yet because I mean I've put like obviously Shenron in the background as a bit of a topic starter.
Not
Hasn't
on
even
this screen, you haven't.
well not on yours, no, but on mine,
Yeah,
yeah.
on yours, yeah, yeah.
All right, so I'll just I don't know hack into yours and put it on there anyway. And
Okay.
see if that
Wouldn't
works.
be hard, to be fair.
To be fair, I'm not sure I'd be able to hack it, so that's a really strong sort of statement from me. I'm not
Well,
sure.
you know, Dan probably could, but you've also got my Wi-Fi password, so you know.
That's true. That yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, uh, it's quite a good password, so I'm happy enough to not give it out.
I
Oh
just
dear.
noticed behind you, is that piece of artwork I did for you like 15 years ago?
Yes.
No, the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get it down.
No. Yeah.
Don't get it
Well. Yeah.
down.
Well. Yeah. Well.
Ah, Christ.
This is pride. This is. So obviously Wolverine, one of my favorites. Daredevil is my favorite.
Yeah,
Absolute
same.
love. Absolutely loved it. Daredevil is the closest that you'll ever get to, in my opinion, of like a proper superhero. He doesn't have like all the super strength and all that sort of stuff, and he does
So
get
just fuck
injured.
all the superpowered people. Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
well, basically, so like you know, he can't actually get hurt, really.
Well, the more
You
he
know,
gets hurt, the stronger he gets. So I mean,
well, because I mean, I'm pretty sure he's had limbs like torn off, and they just kind of come back. Same for
sounds right.
him, yeah. Same,
Yeah.
pretty much the same thing. Whereas you know, if he has some, he once like he created a fake twin brother that could see.
wait, no, I think I remember this actually.
Yeah. It
No,
was
no. He did have a twin brother, and it took over his life.
no.
The twin brother. No. If I remember this right,
He
the twin
was
brother.
his twin brother.
Oh, was he though? Because
Yeah, he was
I'm
he was his
sure.
twin brother, and obviously, you know, he just wore sunglasses and like just made out that he could sort of see, just so he could get away from being Daredevil anymore or Matt Murdock. And he basically created and he sort of like he left for a little while.
Right. Okay. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe you're
But
right. You're probably right.
to be
You know,
fair,
you are probably right.
I will probably have to read back through Essential because that's where I read it from is
All right, just put
Essential
the picture
Volume
down
3.
now. You're holding it for way too long.
I mean, what is way too long?
Like you took it off the wall. That's way too long.
I mean,
That's gonna be. I mean, I can't wait for that to fall over in about 10 minutes.
it might do,
Yeah.
but
I remember that at one point.
I'm pretty sure the Buster Sword will, you know, protect it. Final
There
Fantasy
you
7.
go.
Ha!
Where did you even get that from?
I got it as a gift.
Did you from who?
From a friend.
You talking to other people behind my back? Do you have
Basic-
other friends?
I
Is
you
this
know,
an agreement? Were we allowed to actually hang out with other people?
no, not really. So
Okay.
I say another friend. It's basically just I bought it for myself, but I just say it's
Alright,
from
there
a
you go.
friend. Makes it
My
easier
friend,
that
my
way.
wallet.
My friend, my wallet.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I don't
What were we
see.
saying? Hang on. Daredevil. There was also another time actually where Daredevil he was going around with a T-shirt saying "I'm not Daredevil." Matt Murdock was.
Really?
Yeah, he was going around with a T-shirt that said "I'm not Daredevil" on it,
Oh my
which was
god!
brilliant. He was mayor as well. I think he was like mayor of New York for a while.
They've had the trailer come out for the new Daredevil. What's it called? Oh,
Begin again.
yeah, yeah. So
Born Again.
Born Again. Yeah, that's it. Well, I haven't seen it yet.
I didn't
but-
know the trailer was out.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it came. Well, there was there was a secret like.
It leaked, didn't it?
Yes, that's it.
It leaked a D. Oh god, what's it called, like D24 or something like that.
Ooh,
Like
dunno.
Disney 24.
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah, that sounds about right.
And yeah, it leaked. I forgot all about that. Yeah, I did forget all about it.
Yeah, there was I'm not sure if this was again another leak or not, or if it was just something that was fan made.
Hmm.
But have you seen Deadpool Wolverine?
I have not yet. No.
So do you know
It's
anything
not
about it
because I'm
at
asked
all?
about it, like, oh, I know a lot about it. I just haven't watched
Okay,
it. I just didn't get
so-
around to seeing it in cinema.
You know that you know certain people are in it, yeah.
Hold on, should we do a spoiler warning for this bit?
I just
spoiler warning.
spoiler
to be honest,
warning for you
everyone
as
knows-
well.
Everyone knows what happens in like Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, if you're watching this, it's probably been out for like 6 months. You know,
I mean, it's
if
still
you're
in the
watching
cinema
slash
though.
listening, it's been months at this point. Everyone knows who's in it, but this is your spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning.
Because you had you obviously had the spoilers of some of the characters that sort of were in it,
Yeah,
because you had like obviously Blade returning, you had
yeah. He was the
Elektra.
big surprise.
I was really, because I just assumed that they never really got on, but they seem
They
to have.
didn't know. They also Ryan Reynolds also said like at the beginning of the year that he would probably never work with Wesley Snipes again because of Blade.
He lied.
So yeah, like it's probably just like yeah, no, we're never going to work together. And people are like, yeah, that's never going to happen.
But
And then
then
Blade turns up in Deadpool and like everyone shits their pants, you know.
there's a scene that I've seen, and it's Channing Tatum's Gambit,
Which actually looked good.
and you see him towards like the end of the film of obviously where you sort of see him, and then you see the sling ring.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's a potential that he might be entering into the MC universe.
Well, I mean, he's already in it, is it? But
Yeah, but like he might
the
have
prime
like
timeline.
he might have like, well,
Yeah.
maybe not the prime timeline, but like maybe another Deadpool, because let's face it, he's going to be doing that for a long time.
Yeah, he's gonna do that, and then Wolverine, like he's always gonna carry on being Wolverine, isn't he? I did like that. I saw, where you can find things on the internet.
Yeah.
I saw that Henry Cavill
Oh
was,
yes,
was I've seen that clip, and it's like he does look really good as him.
he
But
really
then,
does.
I'd go out with him. I'd go out with Henry Cavill. I'd let him kiss me.
Is that more because of Warhammer, or is that just because of
No,
just
this
him?
is before. This is
Oh,
pre
it's before
Warhammer. I
that.
mean,
It's
you know that
pre-Warhammer.
Warhammer is basically my life. You know that.
Yeah.
But then, like, when we were finding out that he's like a Warhammer fan as well because of his Instagram account, and then he's like, "Oh, I fucked off The Witcher because they're not respecting the source material. I'm gonna go and try and get the Warhammer cinematic universe." We were all just like, "Oh my god, yes, yes!" Which is really good because he respects the source material so much. We're like, this is the perfect guy to do it because
Yeah.
he's a fan of it. Because he's a fan of it, And if he's the showrunner or like the head of like the Kevin Feige or Feige or Fiji or however you pronounce his name, if he's the project runner for the Warhammer stuff, we're in like top hands. But yeah, he looked really good, and I'm glad that he like went over and like, did he punch him or kick him in the nuts or something?
Punched him in the chest.
Yeah, that was it. And he's like, let me just tell you, this feels right. And I was like, yeah. And then there was the tiny Daniel Craig one as well, wasn't there?
Oh my god, that was
He
brilliant.
stopped off the bar stool and he's like 4'5", which canonically, like he is like 5 foot tall, isn't he?
Yeah, it's very accurate, but at the same time, it just makes it even funnier.
Which is brilliant. I love that.
I mean, so it's mentioned in the films that obviously the MCU films have kind of gone down a little bit, but I don't think it's for the reason everyone sort of says. I mean, the films themselves, they're not terrible. It's just it's not leading to anything big like obviously the previous predecessors were.
We're talking about now.
No, just like any of the MC films.
Oh right, there's no real end game.
Yeah.
Which the film was called Endgame as well. Yeah, I honestly think after Phase 3 ended, and I've never been a huge Marvel fan of the films. The TV shows, on the other hand, like some damn good TV shows.
Yeah.
Not to say the films are shit, but this is like the second MCU we've had as well. We did have one before this, they just never interlinked. Like we had like Ben Affleck as Daredevil, Jennifer Garner, she had the Elektra film. Blade had his own trilogy. There were the old ones, and it was sort of like they were almost kind of like the Marvel Knights, which was a comic run back in the 90s or the 2000s. Yeah, the Punisher, he had 2 films, Punisher and Punisher Warzone. So they had their like cinematic universe before the MCU came along.
Well, yeah, because I'm pretty sure there was like there was supposed to be a behind the scene. There was supposed to be like a the end credits sort of like thing for when the Hulk. So when it was Eric Banner with the Incredible, not the Incredible Hulk, because that was the one that came afterwards. Just the Hulk.
It was just the Hulk, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. And obviously there was supposed to be something like really good connected with that. I actually found that was a really good film, but like it just didn't take off.
I liked the Incredible Hulk, which was the sequel to it. I didn't like Hulk, but that was more of a how it looked rather than the quality of the acting or the quality of the story. But the MCU now, I think after Phase 3, there's nothing really happening. They're trying their best with things, and the TVA stuff with Loki, the TV show of Loki.
Mm.
I've never been a huge Loki fan. Oh my god, he's so hot! Like, oh my god, Loki's such a great character. He was okay. He was an okay villain. He was an okay anti-hero. But the Loki TV show, I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's amazing. It's top tier TV. And like the TVA was like the backbone of that, and then the TVA are in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's such a good concept that they came up with. Obviously, the TVA and obviously the whole backing for that, and it was a great thing to sort of go with, and it introduced obviously the multiverse, and obviously this is how we're getting all these different characters coming from different ages and sort of joining them together, which is it's great. But then I almost feel like they're just pushing it too hard, and there's too many films coming out with like no breather. So you're not getting, because I think there's another
what was it, 2
three.
films a year? Was that 2 films a year?
I think there's another 3 Spider-Man films gonna be coming. And then not only that, he's gonna be doing like cameos in like other films as well. And then you've got like the new Captain America. And then you've got oh god, they've got like so many other things.
Avengers Secret Wars.
Oh yeah.
Secret Wars was my favorite Marvel run, which was like the big first ever crossover of comics. My dad found the original 1986 run of comics at the skip because someone had thrown them away. Well, trying to throw them away, but they were just in a stack on the floor. So I was like, Dad, there's comics there. And at the time, like I didn't really have comics that were in the Beano and stuff. I was like, Dad, there's Spider-Man on that cover. Can we have those? And my dad was like, "Oh, I'll go ask the guys," because my dad knew them. And they were and said, "Oh yeah, no, you can have those. He said you can have them." And I was like, "Sick." Took them home, totally devoured Secret Wars and Secret Wars 2. I still got them somewhere. Just devoured it, and it was fantastic. And like, I didn't know that crossovers weren't a thing until that point. And 86 is the year we were born. Ugh, sorry. And like, so like to know that like it wasn't a thing before then, and at that point I think I was like 15 or 16, no more than 17 at the time, and reading these comics, like, oh my god, this is amazing. It's like, and Thor's there all the time, and then like Captain America's over there. I didn't know any different. I thought this was just normal, just thought it was normal, or they were all hanging out together, and by that point it was. But
the one thing that I've...
This is a very comics heavy thing.
I was just... Do you know what? I'm actually about to divert in quite a lovely way as well. The one thing I like about comics is you get different variations of different stories. But the one thing I love about manga, there's one manga. There isn't really different...
That's true to a point.
Well, yeah. Because obviously you do get some that have like a variation to a slight degree, but most of the time it's that manga artist that does that, and obviously that finishes that. So it's like, I know you've got things like Full Metal Alchemist had obviously Brotherhood, and they have Full Metal Alchemist. What do they call the original? It's just Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist, yeah.
But like the stories diverged after a certain point, but that was more because the anime did so well. And obviously they were like, right, okay, so we're going to stop doing the manga and we're going to finish doing the anime. But then after she finished doing the anime, she was like, well, I don't want to do the same story and write it in manga. So she kind of just changed it a little bit. And then it just kind of went into like such a good story. They were like, can we have this as an anime too? Please. But it was still the original person that sort of like did it. I know obviously you've got like a similar kind of thing that happened with like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Super, because obviously Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, original creator. GT, a little bit different, and Super started off with one of his assistants and then kind of went back to him afterwards.
Right. I haven't seen Super, so I do want to watch Super, so I think I will go through that. Dragon Ball, I love. Dragon Ball Z, I think I've watched it like three times all the way through. Well, to a certain point. I think we all know what point that is. You can guess it, and you'll be like, yeah, that's bang. You're absolutely right. And GT I watched once, and even then I was like missing episodes, but I wasn't running home from school to watch it.
The GT for me, the first part of it I wasn't keen on, but when it got to the stuff with like Baby, and when it got to stuff with like with the dragons and things like that, I really enjoyed. So
Okay.
like, when you had like, Baby taking over Vegeta, and obviously, that was such a cool sort of like look that Vegeta had for it, and it was quite an interesting sort of concept that they have for it, which is I quite enjoyed. The whole original sort of stuff for GT, I'll take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Because like half of the episodes they forgot that they could actually fly. Not sure why that was.
Yeah, been doing that since day one, but whatever.
But yeah, so like, GT had some really good stuff in it. It's just
There was a lot of chaff though, like the Great Saiyan Man.
oh,
Come on, see, you know what I mean? Like
Ooh.
it was like they were trying to take. I know, I love this show. Like they were trying to do Tenchi Muyo,
oh yeah.
like, and then like Tenchi in Tokyo and stuff like that. I love Tenchi Muyo. Tenchi Muyo is like so good. Used to watch it on. Was it on Toonami? Or was it
Yeah.
on Cartoon? I mean, Toonami was on Cartoon Network.
Well,
But-
and then they came off Cartoon Network, and wasn't it on like channel 210 or something like that on Sky?
The fact that you remember that is wild to me.
Yeah, because
Toonami had its own. Did Toonami end up having its own channel?
yeah, it did, because it started
Yeah.
on 601, which was Cartoon Network, and then it was
Yeah, I
on
remember that one.
afterwards, and then
Yeah.
and then it went to channel 210, and then I think there was the only other place that you could watch anything like it was on Sci-Fi late on, and that was 165 or something like that.
Right, I kind of want to talk. I know you've got some talking points, but we've not touched these. But I kind of want to talk about Cartoon Network for a second, because at the time it was fantastic when we were like teenagers. Like the whole Gendy Taratotsky stuff. I know I butchered his name. So like the Dexter's Lab, all that cartoon stuff was amazing. So you had like Dexter's Lab, you had like Samurai Jack, Two Stupid Dogs,
Samurai Jack. Oh my
yeah.
god.
What else was there? Johnny Bravo. That whole like section.
I just want to pause you for a second, because you'll know this. Because did Samurai Jack actually finish?
It finished after 3 seasons on Cartoon Network, and then like I think about 4 years ago they did a 4th season, which did end it.
I never saw that. I never saw that one.
Season. They did a 4th season. I don't remember where it was shown. It might have been on Prime, but they did a 4th season that finished it. Yeah.
Wow.
So it did have an ending. It did take like 15, 20 years, but it did have an ending. But Cartoon Network at that time, you had that run, and then you had like the Flintstones, which looking back, I friggin' love the Flintstones. The Flintstones is so good. I would happily watch like 4 hours of the Flintstones like every day right now.
Didn't Seth MacFarlane, didn't he want to bring back the Flintstones?
I don't know, but I don't think anyone should touch it now. I
No,
think it's perfect as it is.
Do you know what? When they they do this, where they sort of go, "I'm going to bring this back." Don't.
Just don't.
I'm happy. I'm happy with leaving it as it is.
There are some
I don't need it.
You know what? You want to remake Neon Genesis Evangelion because you've run out of money? Fine, make 4 or 5 films. Do whatever you want. Do the director's cuts. I've got them over there. Do the director's cuts. Completely remake the last 4 episodes. Make 2 movies. Do whatever you want with it. But some things, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. I'm very happy we were in the age where games are getting remade, remasters, re-releases. Some things don't need touching though. Silent Hill 2's just come out. That's popped off. Fantastic. It looks amazing. I've heard nothing but good things. But there are some games you just shouldn't remake. They just don't need remaking.
Do you know what? I wish that they would pick games to remake that when they came out, they just didn't have the right graphics or the right sort of like, engine power of a computer to sort of like run them. So they came out really clunky, but the story was fantastic. There was a game that was called Kudelica. It was an RPG. It was based in a castle.
And I know the name.
And it was basically sort of like, you were like on a chessboard type thing. So it was like it was a turn-based type style.
Disgaea or Disgaea. I can never remember.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy Tactics, sort of.
Yeah, similar sort of thing to that. The game was brilliant, but it just it didn't get as much popularity as it should have, because it just kind of didn't have the right graphics to run it, so it didn't come out visually sort of like, fantastic.
Was it like the tail end of the PS1 era, was it?
I think it was like the midsection of like the PS1. So like before, even like way before PS2 was even a thing, or even a forethought. Which that's so long ago now. Jesus Christ.
I remember like the first time my family got a PlayStation. It was my brother. It was his Christmas present. It came with 2 games, wildly inappropriate games. I don't remember what the second one was fine. The second one was, I think it was Spyro the Dragon, but the main game it came with was the Die Hard trilogy.
Die
And
Hard
me and my,
trilogy.
I think our oldest, I was 15. And my brother was 2 years younger than me. And he's 13, and my parents have just gone, here's a PlayStation with the Die Hard trilogy. Great game, by the way. Great trilogy of games. Never finished one of them, but
Is that the ones
really,
where you had the gun as well?
there was. It was, so Die Hard trilogy was Die Hard 1, where you were like over the shoulder, like third person running
Yeah.
around shooting terrorists. Die Hard 2 was a light gun game. So yeah, so people would run out of the airport in like Time Crisis, like pew pew pew.
Oh, Time
And then,
Crisis.
yeah, and then Die Hard with a Vengeance was a driving game. So you really got 3 different genres in one.
Jesus.
Yeah, which doesn't happen anymore.
No, well, it kind of does because it's just they kind of mesh them all in as one, and they just don't mesh well together. So like, if you've got like a GTA,
sure.
right? So GTA, you've got driving in it, you've got shooting in it, and you've got everything else in between in it. The driving is just terrible. You can quite literally fly.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there were some games like Driver 2. Driver 1 was
Ooh,
amazing. Once you got
yeah.
past the tutorial, Driver 2, you get out the car, you could run up and nick another car and drive on. That was all the in between the cars you could do. And at the time, it was like, oh my god, I can change my car. I can change my car, and I'm in Rio. Oh my god. Or was it Cuba? Havana? I think it was Havana, yeah. Driver 2. Havana. I think it was Driver 2, yeah. I never played Drive 3 because it was Drive with the 3 was the E. Driver. But like earlier games like that were like really pushing the boundaries of what you can do and stuff. But going way back to like 10 minutes ago probably, where you were saying like manga only has like one like
Oh
thing.
yeah.
So like there are lots of different versions of the same story in like manga in book form as well. Like even like I said, the Neon Genesis Evangelion anime has like 4 or 5 different endings. You know, there is so many different versions of that story as well in manga form and like offshoots, because in the original ending for it, spoilers, it's been out for 30 years. You know, Crimea River. It's it showed like a different version where the kids were all like normal and they were in school and there was no giant robots and no one's parents had died and everyone was fine and they were all in a normal high school, and there was that version, and it was just a school drama. It just followed them. You know, that was it. There was no giant robots. There was no one depressed. You know, it was totally normal for him, and it was totally fine.
So just a one
You know?
episode series.
It was a whole manga series. I think there was like 20 volumes. You know.
Oh my god, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like Attack on Titan has a few different ones as well, like where they're all babies at school and
No.
Titans are still attacking. You know.
I just can't get into it. I
Attack on
honestly
Titan.
no, I can't get into it. I mean, you know,
Yeah, I'm like that with a lot of shows though.
a lot. It's a little bit too many. If it's too long,
Like
you
everyone's
don't
like the
like
top
it.
3 anime at all time are these 3, and I know what 3 everyone will say, and I'm like, I won't watch any of them. They're too long. They're too long, and from what I've seen, they are crap. You know,
That's
just what I've seen. This is not my cup of tea. That's the thing.
right.
Right? And I
Okay,
hate when
so
people are saying these are the top 3 anime. It's like they're your top 3 anime.
no,
They're
no,
not
so
the top 3.
right. So no, no, they are the top 3. There is
No,
no
they're top 3. They're the top
no
3
no no
longest
no
running, and they've
no no
got the
no no
most
no 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 no
fandom.
no no no
That doesn't
no
mean they're the best.
no no.
That doesn't mean they're the
No,
best.
the fact that you said the biggest fandom, that's the part. Okay,
No,
so
no,
like
it's not,
no
because people
no
love League of
no
Legends. Come on.
no don't. Oh Christ.
That's doing a lot of heavy lifting for the gaming world, the multiplayer scene online, because so many people go into League of Legends and they're so toxic. If that game ever goes down, we're in for a world of fucking hurt. Because
Oh.
they got to go somewhere. They're gonna go somewhere, and they'll end up in all the lobbies that we're in games and stuff, and that'll be a right fucking nightmare. So League of Legends is doing some heavy lifting, and you know what? I think it's Riot Games. I salute you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I literally couldn't do it without you.
It's holding that barrier. When that
Yeah.
floodgate goes, it's gone.
You know, it's like World War Z, where all the zombies are climbing up the wall, you know, and they're just picking the top ones off, you know.
Christ.
But yeah,
Right. So I know
There we go.
that you don't like the big three,
The
right?
big three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
you're not. You know, and I won't
You know
say
what?
them. I won't
There's
mention
one of
them.
them I might consider watching.
That's unbelievable. Which one?
Yeah. Um. One Piece.
Really?
Yeah, that's
The
the one I would consider watching.
the biggest one of all of them. That's the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, and I won't start it because it's too big. It's not because like the fandom's too big, I'd feel crushed. No, it's just too long. I haven't got time for it. I ain't got time for it. I'd never finish it. There's like some 1,000 episodes.
Yeah. And the rest. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. There's over 1,000 episodes. When am I going to find time? I'm already 38.
Yeah.
I'll be dead before I catch up.
I've started from the beginning a few times, right? Because it's good. I've
I
actually
didn't say it wasn't good.
I
It's just too long for me.
all right. So like
Okay.
so for something that right. So what is a good short anime for you?
26 episodes. What do you
Okay.
mean, like, what's a good show or what's a good length?
Right. So 26 episodes is about right for you,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah,
So
it's a classic one because that's a 6-month show once a
okay.
week.
So
Manageable.
give me an example of one.
Of one what?
Of one good anime that is about 26 episodes.
There's Beck,
Oh, that's a
Mongolian
good one.
Job Squad.
That is
Yeah,
a really
that's
good
one of my
one.
favorites. Yeah.
That is really
There's
good.
Ghost,
Yeah.
there's Ghost in the Shell. There's like 3
Oh.
seasons of it, but they're all 26 episodes long.
Standalone Complex, amazing.
that's
That
it.
is such a good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't deny that without a doubt.
Yeah.
But it's still not one of the top three.
No, it's not, but it's fantastic.
It is
Like I
amazing.
said,
It's
Ghost in the
brilliant.
Shell's got so many different versions of it as well. Because you've got the main one, you've got Standalone Complex, and you've got a Rise, and there's another one.
They had
Excuse me.
the computer game as well.
Oh, Cowboy Bebop, that's another one.
Oh, love Cowboy
Space
Bebop.
Dandy.
I didn't get into Space Dandy. I didn't like that.
Neither did I for a long time, but then when I did watch it, I was laughing my ass
To
off.
be fair, it was ruined for me by a certain someone who keeps ruining a lot of things for me.
Yeah, yeah. This is why I don't watch half the things he tells me to watch.
Yeah.
I say half, let's be generous. Most of the things.
Samurai Champloo, that was amazing.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Absolutely love that.
Brilliant. Love that.
Cowboy Bebop, but with hip hop and samurai instead of jazz and Space Boys.
GTO.
GTO. These are just classics right now.
Great Teacher Onizuka. God, I love it.
Love it.
Uh,
Just suplexing kids because it doesn't know any better.
Bit of a weird one, but Excel Saga.
Yeah, that's in there. Yeah. I'm just trying to think what else I used to have on DVD. That had a weird sequel, didn't it? Puny Puny Poemi. That was just a weird sequel, just a weird one.
Very odd.
Yeah.
Do you remember like Final Fantasy Unlimited?
I do, but that was one I didn't watch again because certain someone was like, "This is the greatest show I've ever seen," and I'm like, "You say that about everything." So I can't trust your judgment.
Yeah, I think he's used it so much. I'm not even sure if he knows himself what is the best ever.
Yeah, thing is, like 26 episode series, like even if it's like seasons long, like a few seasons, I'll take that because psychologically, it's 3 seasons long. It's 26 episodes each season. I can manage that.
Yeah, to be fair, so I started like One Piece when it was like almost only like 50 chapters in. So I started right at the very beginning.
I know that you started watching Naruto when it was about 300 episodes in. And I was like, even then, I was like, that's too long. I'm not going to watch it. And then you and the other were like, oh, but it's so good. It's so good. It's like, it might be, but it's 300 episodes. I don't have the time. I don't have the time. And it's true to this day. If I'd started at the same time, I'd be like,
I'm just going to ask you. I'm just going to ask you a quick question, right?
Sure.
So you love D&D just like me, correct?
I do.
You do, yeah. Okay.
I do.
And you've watched Critical Role, haven't you?
Only the first season.
Okay.
And then some of the second and an episode of the third.
The first season, right, of
Yes.
Critical Role.
Also, I listened to it in podcast form while I was at work as well.
So you know what I'm about to say, don't you? Right. So how many hours is it per episode? About 3?
I think it's something like 18 days long. But like I said, I was listening to a lot of that while I was working because I was working by myself. I wasn't self-employed. I'm not going to get into it. I was working by myself somewhere, and it sounds dodgy when I say it like that. But I was working by myself in my own work environment. I can't do that to myself. I wish I could. I wouldn't be here. I was working by myself. It was like there was no one to talk to, so I just had I downloaded 3 episodes of Critical Role, for my work day, and I would just have it on in the background while I was working.
Yeah, to be fair, that's pretty much how I listened to like Dungeons and Daddies. I just had it on
Right,
in
just
the car
the
in between.
just the best D&D show in my opinion.
I'd love to do something like that though. I'd love to do something more like, I know that we're starting to do a podcast, for Warhammer, and obviously we're going to do that.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to have done something D&D related, because I've done it so much. I feel like I could do that just without even thinking about it. I think I could just go straight into it.
Let's see how long this this Imperium one goes for, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because
So getting back to obviously the like the mangas and the different variations and different things like that, you get what I mean. Obviously, that with mangas, there's not really a different story to sort of tell from it. It kind of stays on top, and there's not really any other variations that are done by the official. Not as many, shall we say?
not by the official artist, no. But people do go and do their own takes on it sometimes. Not always, but
now
sometimes. Like
there's something I've always been interested with, right? And there's actually a couple of different sort of like theories I've had over this over the years. So number one, right? So Dragon Ball, you know how much I love Dragon Ball, and
it's on your glass right now. You're probably wearing a Dragon Ball Z t-shirt.
No, because I was at work today, so it's my work top, so it's just got the Tinsley LPD on there.
Plug.
Yeah, well, why not? I'm a driving instructor. Just plug that. I mean, who knows? Nobody.
I can't believe you would say that. I would never reveal anything personal about myself like that, like you just did.
Well, whatever. I
feel really. I'm just wearing a plain grey hoodie and a plain white t-shirt. Like, I got nothing. I got no symbols. And I'm wearing pajama bottoms. I'm wearing lounge PJs.
So, you're right. Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
Right. That's not the original timeline.
No, I know that.
Yeah. So the original timeline is Future Trunks. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And obviously,
because of the androids, Doctor. Oh God, what was his name?
But there is a third alternative. Dr. Gero, by the way.
Dr. Gero, that was it. That was it. That was killing me.
There's a third alternative timeline because Trunks, because Trunks' timeline gets interfered with by a different version of Cell.
Oh.
Because somehow Trunks
I don't remember this.
Somehow Trunks from a different timeline beats both 17 and 18. And Cell obviously is in that timeline, and he goes, well, if I can't become perfect, I need to go to a different timeline where it is. And when he comes back, he faces off against Trunks, and because Trunks, he beats 17 and 18 when he comes back. He then sort of destroys the lab with Cell being like made in there. Yeah. But then he senses that there's another Cell from a different timeline that's obviously there. So at some point, obviously, this Cell had beat a different sort of like... So like this Cell was from a third other sort of timeline from it.
Okay. So I don't remember this. What was this in?
No, this was one of the episodes that it was also, I think, in the manga, because you see Trunks versus Imperfect Cell. And it's like when one of the episodes where he goes back to his timeline. And obviously he's sort of like, I can't remember which episode it was now.
I honestly don't remember this at all, which is weird because I've watched it like 2 or 3 times. I don't remember this at all.
So,
but there's a lot in it I don't remember. I barely remember when Hercule turned up.
Hercule.
But then Hercule's like when you have a kid, you don't really remember like life before them. Like, what did I do?
Well, like Hercule, the first time we saw Hercule and any sort of like hint at him was basically at Cell's tournament, where he sort of showed up. With a camera crew, because why not?
Yeah, that was it. I said it's all magic tricks, and they're in that cracked tile over there using mirrors.
I love that they do like a little movie production of how he does it, and then he does a movie production of him beating up Cell, and it's just some guy in a suit. Oh my God!
Oh no! The first time he tries to clock like 18, and she's just like, "Pay me 25 grand, and I'll jump away now." And he's like, "Deal."
The fact that attack is in every single game that afterwards is amazing, and it's just like delayed punch.
Yeah, just pay me 25 grand and I can end this right now. It's like, okay.
He's like, I'm sorry, that's the strongest I can do, and she's like, all right, fine. Oh my God, what a character! Gotta love
What's
it.
your favorite? What's your favorite saga in Dragon Ball Z?
My favorite saga,
Yeah,
Cell.
Cell Saga.
Yeah,
I really like the Namek Saga
it's so like
or
Namek
Namek
Saga.
Freezer. Namek Freezer Saga.
Namek Saga has got the biggest like OMG moment with obviously the transformation of
Mm.
Goku into Super Saiyan. That was like the first like, peak look at like what it's going to be. But it took a while to kind of get into it to start with. Mind you, it did have a few filler episodes with them sort of like stopping off at other planets and things like that in the like
Yeah,
in
because
the
it was
anime.
like it was like the Saiyan Saga, the Vegeta Saga, the Namek Saga, the Freezer Saga, the Trunks Saga,
Uh,
and then the Cell Saga.
ooh,
Right.
no, it was Android, wasn't it? Android
Android then Trunks.
and no, well,
Well, Android Trunks, yeah.
Trunks, Android. Uh,
Cell.
was there something in between that? In between
I
this?
don't think so.
No.
How? Which was the Cell Saga the longest one? I feel like it
Else?
was.
No. That I'm pretty sure that like the Freezer slash Namek saga was the longest.
I love that one. That was like peak Dragon Ball Z for me. Not that the rest of it was bad. Well, some of it was, but
Yeah, I can't
God,
deny that.
just imagine, Boo. Like, what were they doing?
I was watching I was watching Dragon Ball Kai earlier today, and obviously because I've never actually sat and watched Kai. I watched all the other things. Kai, they've kind of they changed and altered a few things. For example, in Kai, they actually say what it says in the manga when like it's his power level's over 8,000 rather than 9,000. They
Wow,
edited it
that's
to be
bullshit.
well. It always sounded better that it was over 9,000. It was sounded
Well,
so
yeah,
much
because
better. But in the manga, true to the manga, they sort of went back, and I was like, I don't like it.
I like it. I
Um,
mean, technically they're not wrong, but
but here's a thought, right? So the spirit bomb, right?
mm,
With
yeah,
right, so he used the spirit bomb to pretty much beat most of them. Yeah, he used a spirit bomb to beat to like weaken a lot of them, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
spirit bomb beat Vegeta to a certain degree.
yeah.
Um,
Wasn't that Krillin?
it was a bounce back off of Gohan, but yes, it was
Yeah,
Krillin and Gohan with the
yeah.
uh,
Because like Krillin, he was like, "Oh yeah, hold this for me, mate."
but
And he's
even
like,
that
"Okay,
didn't completely take him down, and it wasn't until Gohan turned into the Uzaru
yeah,
that he sort of like he pummeled him and sort of like got him to go. But my thought is right, the Spirit Bomb isn't actually like all just a physical attack. Like at the end of the Boo saga, you had it where Boo was reincarnated into Oob,
yeah,
right? So my thought is there's a part of the spirit bomb that changes changes you from chaotic to more good, because right at the very beginning when Gohan reflects it, Goku sort of says to him, you can reflect this because you're good of heart, and then it'll only
yeah."
get people who are evil, and it targets the evil. So I think that it targeted Vegeta's evil, and because it didn't quite finish him off, he didn't get reincarnated. He just slowly turned to good, which is then obviously he started turning good throughout like the different ones.
Well,
Same,
it sort of became like more like true neutral, didn't he?
yeah. Well, this is it. So he kind of like he got from chaotic, and he went more to like neutral, and like with a little bit, and like the same thing kind of happened with Frieza. With obviously Frieza was beat to a certain degree with that, but he came back to sort of beat them, but like in the more super episodes, Frieza's obviously back, and obviously he's not really interested in like destruction as much, but like at the same time he is sort of like less evil than what he was. Normally he'd just destroy the whole planet, but he wants to sort of like do it a different way. So I feel like the spirit bomb isn't just an energy attack. I feel like it's an attack on someone's inner energy, their inner key.
Possibly. I mean, I don't know. Have you read the manga? Because maybe it'll say in that.
It doesn't say anything in the manga about it. It's just a theory I
Okay,
had.
fair enough. Oh, it's a nice fan theory. It's a nice head canon, as the kids say.
Head
This is
canon.
my head canon.
Well, I mean, obviously, it was something that that I thought about this morning when I was watching the finale of the Saiyan saga.
Oh, fair enough.
Uh,
I don't know. It's a good theory though. It is a good theory, but I don't know. But I did like how he was like, "Here, Krillin, hold this," and like gave him this massive bomb, and then he's like, "Oh, when should I use it?" He goes, "You'll know the moment." And then Krillin's like, "Oh wait, that was it. It's already gone."
no, the problem was he was about to do it, and then Yajirobe opens his mouth and goes, "Why don't you just
Ugh,
throw it?"
right.
And then he goes, "You son of a," and he throws it.
Yajirobe,
Oh,
Yajirobe. Oh my god.
Yajirobe was both the savior and the idiot in that same that same sort of thing. He cut
Yeah,
the
I thought that
tail
was
off.
I
That
thought
was
that was
amazing.
Yamcha. I actually thought that was Yamcha.
No, Yamcha did not survive that.
No, he didn't know. Like one little green gremlin got on him, and like that was it. I
Well,
think he survived like 3 episodes.
Yamcha.
Because we saw Dragon Ball Z. Well, I saw Dragon Ball Z before I saw Dragon Ball, so he wasn't that big a deal to me.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I saw Dragon Ball Z before I saw, because Dragon Ball came out when we were born,
Yeah,
and then obviously Z, I think was 1996, 1997 for here, on like, Cartoon Network and everything else. And obviously that's what I first watched, and then I went back and realized obviously it was, yeah, Dragon Ball, and I watched and read through Dragon Ball a number of times.
yeah,
Um, and I've always preferred Dragon Ball over Z half the time.
fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know what it is. I feel like when you got to Z, Z is basically because it was more to do with like power levels, and it was just like all about power levels. It's like
Yeah.
I thought like, so if Goku wasn't a Saiyan, would he still be as strong as he is now?
What do you mean?
So do you think that like Goku would still be the strongest character, or was he only made strong because of
Well,
his like
I thought Gohan was the strongest character.
he had Gohan's always had the potential, but never had
The gumption.
the right mentality for it.
Ah, fair enough.
But do you know what? Actually, I thought of a really good sort of like alternate timeline, which would make the strongest Gohan, and that would be if Chi Chi died giving birth.
Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, but then he would not be good. Well,
No,
because she was yeah. So as I say, she was a hard ass, which made him like well behaved and a good boy and a shy boy.
well,
Whereas
basically
if it
just
was
sort of
just,
like
if,
said
can
you're
you
not allowed
imagine
to fight.
if it was just Goku and Gohan like just rumbling around, can you honestly see Gohan being the exact same person he is now?
No, that's why I think he'd be like a proper like beast of a fighter.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, you look at it, right? So, Goku was raised by Gohan, who was a martial artist, and he was out
Yeah.
in the woods on his own. He became
Yeah.
a really strong martial artist. If the
Yeah.
same thing happened to Gohan with Goku, he'd be a really strong martial artist. But
Yeah.
instead, Chi Chi, the only one that Chi Chi tried to make into a martial artist was Goten, and she didn't do very well at that
Oh,
because
Goten.
I feel sorry for Goten. He had such good potential. Same with
Did he
like
though?
Goten and Trunks had such good potential. Trunks could have turned out like future Trunks, but instead turned out like Trunks.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not a fan of the whole fusion thing. Like that's just never been my like bag with that show. That was where like Dragon Ball Z started tailing off. You know.
So you don't like the Patara and like the fusion dance.
You know what? I think I've said all I've needed to say.
I
It's
think
just the fusion is not for me. Like none of it. The dancing, the Gogeta, the Vagoku, none of it's good for me. It's none of it's for me.
Oh Jesus!
Go Tanks, and then what was the other one? Where we went wrong. Did it have a name? Did it have a name? Go Tanks?
No. Just
it was just
it was just Go Tanks, either fat, thin, or proper.
Yeah. I just couldn't. Yeah, was there? I was trying. Was there another name? But there's not.
Do you know, I'm always disappointed to sort of see that like you didn't have the same version of that, but with like Vegeta and Goku.
So just like turns into like comic book guy. Like, ooh,
Basically, yeah, that's my superhero.
just turns into Yajirobe.
Oh, Yajirobe. Oh my god, if he wasn't lazy, he was at one point stronger, or at least as strong as Goku.
Yeah, he was. Man was a powerhouse.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
instead he just kind of, I don't really care.
I think you're right. Like with Dragon Ball, it's more like, the tournaments and all that
Mm.
lot and the story with like the Red Ribbon Army and stuff. And then like Dragon Ball Z is where it's got edgier. Everyone's like way more buff, because a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger films come out and Sylvester Stallone. And like they're like, we've got to make this edgy, you know what we need? Like more guns, but not like boom boom guns, but like guns. Got to give their eyebrows some definition, you know.
Well, no, because they removed the eyebrows in Super Saiyan 3.
Yeah, but until then, they've got like two
They
other
just
Super
had like
Saiyans.
just
Like, didn't
huge
Super Saiyan 3 basically useless? Wasn't that, is that right?
Super
It
Saiyan
burned the
3.
energy too
Yeah.
fast.
So Super
was it.
Saiyan 3 was like really strong, but it would never last long.
Yeah. Story of my life. Yeah, because Super Saiyan 1 like was, just and they were blonde, and then Chi Chi was like, oh my god, they dyed his hair. And Super Saiyan 2 was like, holy shit. My god.
But there were
then
two.
Super Saiyan 3 was like their hair went like really long, and they like just can't sustain it. It's no good.
There was only ever so there were two versions of Super Saiyan 2.
Yeah.
You had the imperfect transformation and the perfect transformation. And obviously Goku and Vegeta both achieved the imperfect, and Gohan was the only one to achieve the perfect transformation.
Yeah.
And then obviously Super Saiyan 3, there's only obviously Gotenks and Goku that ever did it.
Yeah.
Vegeta never bothered with it because he realized it was just a pointless transformation.
Yeah.
And, well, obviously the next one he did was, I guess, like the margin transformation would be the next one for him. But that's probably the next
wearing my earrings. Flick.
I mean, whatever suits.
There was a reason it was never really touched on again,
What the whole like Majin Buu story?
Yeah.
Funnily enough, have you seen anything to do with Dayama?
No, I haven't. No. Oh god.
So
And I guess I never will know.
do you know what? It's actually not bad. There's 2 episodes out at the moment. You should give it a watch.
Is it in English though? Because
no,
it's not. It is in Japanese.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that shouldn't stop me anyway. Because I used to watch like subbed anime all the time.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I mean, I'm not going to sort of say it's like the best thing to sort of come out ever, but like it's decent. It's got some funny parts to it. It's sort of like it explains a few bits and pieces that I've always wondered about. And it's probably obviously it's the last thing that that obviously he made before he passed, and obviously it's the last thing that he had anything to do with. So it's for me, it's something I really wanted to sort of like, I've been really looking forward to. So obviously I went and sort of like seen it with Dan, and obviously me and Dan sort of watched it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But no, I think when it comes to like the Dragon Ball side of things, I think that's it's another one that like does have variations, because you've got I don't know if you've ever seen Dragon Ball Heroes.
I've heard of it, but I've not seen it.
So the Dragon Ball Heroes, I actually kind of ignored for ages, and then I kind of started watching it the other day, and I realized it's actually not bad. It's actually really good. It's got quite a decent sort of story thing to it, and obviously the fights in it are pretty good as well. I always kind of just ignored that side of things, but it's well worth sort of like just having a bit of a look at. And they're only like 5-6 minute episodes, so you kind of plow through it pretty easy. So you can just kind of watch an episode. Right, I'm done for now. I'm just sort of come back to it another time. I think I've watched like 6 episodes, and I was just like, whilst I was just sitting, not doing a great deal of anything else really. So that was worth it. I quite enjoyed that.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
I
was just gonna say, and one of the ones I've always wanted to sort of like have, not like a different version, but like I wanted more of, and that was Death Note. I loved Death Note.
I have this thing with Death Note, and it's the same with Attack on Titan, where I really like it, but I can't watch a lot of it at once. Like I couldn't binge it. I would get bored of it after like watching say if a maximum of 3 episodes, and I'm like, I can't, I'm done with this for a while, and I wouldn't watch it for a week, and then I'd watch another 3 episodes, and like watch the first episode. Oh my god, I forgot how good this is. This is really, really good. I love this. And then 3 episodes, I was like, I just can't. I need a break. I need a break again. And I liked it, but there was something about Death Note which just seemed like everyone was really pretentious, and I couldn't get fully on board with it because everyone was like, I'm the smartest person in the room, and I'm gonna kill someone while I eat a Dorito. And it was just like there was a lot of that, and I get it, it's a murder mystery basically and a police detective story and all this lot, but there was so much pretentiousness that I couldn't fully get on board with it. But I did like it when I was watching it, but maximum 3 episodes at a time, and that was it.
That's fair enough. I mean, obviously, I watched it when it kind of first sort of like came onto the scene, and
I was watching at the same time as you.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it, and obviously, I've got the mangas. I've even got the novel, because I really enjoyed it. But I like the whole sort of like murder mystery sort of style of things, and obviously outsmarting the other person. I quite like that sort of style of obviously doing it. But I always wanted to sort of like, what if it wasn't like him that picked up the Death Note? If it was someone else, would they have just been caught like really fast? And
I mean, there's a possibility, yeah,
And then how would that have changed things? Would they have just like burned the book?
Like, what if his dad got it,
Or like, what if like it was like centuries before that, before like technology and everything else?
Okay.
And like, so what if it was like during like medieval times and someone dropped the book and then someone's just like writing in it? Well, how are you going to catch that person?
Well, they'd be like bragging about it. They'd carry it everywhere, wouldn't they? They'd flaunt it, almost.
Depends on the person, I suppose, because obviously this is the
Depends
whole.
if they can even fucking write,
If we're talking that sort of time,
so we're
yeah.
talking a big thing straight away. There, like half the population, like at most, could write. So.
I suppose nowadays we've got like a lot more information at the fingertips if you know where the right places to look.
Yeah, just drop this outside. It's by Death Motorola,
You're right. So there was a manga that came out, and it wasn't like a Death Motorola or anything like that. But what it was just called like Smartphone or something like that, where basically the phone knew how to do everything. So you could just kind of like type whatever you want and be like, right, that's what I want to do, and it would just get all the information for you. And there were apparently like 10 out there, and you had to try and catch each other by sort of like and working out who was the one that sort of like had the last one, but you couldn't tell anyone that you had it, because if you do, the phone is automatically revoked from you.
All right, so it's a weird catch the Dragon Balls situation.
Yeah, so like I read it for a little while. It had quite an interesting sort of like quite an interesting take on it. But after I read like a few chapters, I just sort of thought, I'm not sure how this is going to keep going. So same as like what you've come to sort of like do with like if you're not drawn into it straight away, you just kind of go, I'll move on.
Yeah, like there's also a lot of weird mangas and animes out there now that have really weird premises and like a whole novel as their title. Like one like the That Time I Died and Got Reincarnated as a vending machine in a dungeon. Like what the fuck,
That like, Time I Got Reincarnated into a slime is amazing.
Yeah. Also, that vending machine one is a real one.
Is it?
Is a real one. Yeah. I haven't seen it.
I didn't know that.
I know the start of it. I saw a TikTok video at the start. It was like, "Are you looking for a weird new isekai manga?" And I'm like, "Not really, no, but I'm too lazy to scroll, so let's see it." And it's some lazy school kid, and he's riding a bike, and he gets hit by, I think, a vending machine flies off the back of a moving wagon, hits him, and kills him. And he wakes up in this fantasy world as a vending machine. And it's no joke, he can talk. He's a vending machine though, but can talk. Has no arms or legs. So he finds this like big like barbarian woman, and she just starts carrying him around a dungeon. Like it's not like he can walk; he is a vending machine.
What the hell?
And like that's an anime that someone went, you know what? That sounds fucking awesome. Let's watch it. Let's make it.
I think because there's a
certain
certain
that never would have happened.
Yeah, but like to be fair, like there's a certain sort of like part of that just seems like it would just be funny. Just as like a short anime, it'd just be like funny to do, but only for a short period.
I don't know when isekai mangas became such a thing as well. You know, that sort of genre, like fantasy. You get killed or you fall asleep, you wake up in a fantasy world. You
So
know,
I know I've obviously read a few different ones. I think one of the most popular is, hang on, I'm reading it just the other day actually.
oh, excuse me. Oh, ooh.
You're right there.
I did a belch and it tasted not good.
That's not good.
Like, like I had Katsuko before, and like it does not taste like that.
So like, so there's two that I've read over the years. One was The Gamer. That's where he just kind of wakes up and he's got gaming
Sounds
powers.
sounds familiar. Yeah.
I love that one. That was brilliant. That one finished not too long ago. That was on web novel or something like that. It's a Korean
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds about
manga.
right.
And then there's this other one that I read a while back, and it was called Solo Leveling.
Yeah. See, those are different to like there's isekai, which is you wake up in this fantasy world, no idea how, and then there's trapped in a video game, which is Sword Art, Solo Leveling,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Log
yeah.
Horizon. So it's a different thing. Like they know they're in a video game and they can do it. Like Sword Art Online is the most popular one, but I think Log Horizon like makes it so they have to follow the video game rules like more strictly. So if they want to do attack, they have to pull up a menu. They have to select magic and they have to select the spell they're going to use. They go to like rocks
Ah,
and save progress in these rocks and
so
stuff.
that's a similar sort of thing to the one called Overgeared. So it's they
There you go.
basically
Yeah.
log into the world. So
Overlord as well.
that's a good one. I love Overlord, but that's where
Yeah.
he wakes up in that world. So that is one where he can sort of like use his voice to cast sort of like spells and stuff.
Well,
Um,
isn't Overlord he's logs into the server
no,
to his
so
guild and then the servers go offline, but he's still in it, isn't that
that's it.
right?
Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
he's not in he's in the guild, but the guild has been moved to another world.
that was it.
And
Yeah.
obviously he then sort of like goes to investigate, and basically then he just starts to like accidentally just kind of take over the whole place.
Yeah. He's just like well overpowered, you know.
Yeah. And most of obviously the guardians that he has with him just have the same sort of like OP sort of state to them, but there is
Yeah.
apparently he's looking for anyone else that might have been on the server as well that was moved with him. So he's
Yeah.
kind of like trying to make like big, like sort of like, outlandish sort of things. So then maybe, he can sort of like get someone that he might know from the old server. Um, but it's that's quite good. It's got
Yeah.
some interesting sort of parts of that. I think it's not been renewed. I think
Oh.
the last one that came out was season 4. And it was on a big cliffhanger, but I think season 4 came out like I want to say like 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
It
Was what was that other one? Was it No Game No Life? I don't remember it, but our friend um he was telling me about it and he was very insistent that I watched it and I watched it and I watched it in a rush. Um and I can't remember what it was about, but I think it was a brother and sister and I think they were hacking the game they were stuck in.
what?
Yeah, there was I think that if I remember right, and I'm probably really not, but if it's not true and I've made this story up, that's a copyright. So a brother and a sister, they're hacking this MMO like all the time. They're like cheaters, hackers, and stuff like that. And then they get
Fucking
stuck in this
hackers.
MMO, and they can still hack the game.
Okay.
So if that's right, if I remember it right, that's what it was. And if I don't remember it right, that's a Genko property right there. But I will accept bids for it.
I mean, to be fair,
Um,
you are kind of an artist yourself. You could just do this yourself.
I could, but I am an artist, but I am lazy, and I'm
I
better at that than I am the other one.
You're better at being
So
lazy.
yeah, man, I've been working on this picture with like this fan art of Adventure Time for like weeks at the minute, and it's like snatched 10 minutes at a time, a lot of the time, and like figuring out the poses and stuff is a real thing for me. And I'll sit there and I'll get it wrong, and I'll be like, and I'll have an emotional meltdown instead of just erasing it and doing it again because I have this big ass drawing tablet I spent a lot of money on years ago. I think it was like no, I think it was post lockdown or during lockdown. I got it, and this thing's friggin' massive. Um, and I use it as my second monitor for a lot of things. I didn't touch it for like 2 years because I got like freaked out about the whole art thing. Just like, oh, I'm not good at it. You know, people don't like my stuff, which is something that I shouldn't care about. As long as I like my stuff, but I'm an artist. No artist likes their own stuff. I was like, I'm terrible at it. I'm nowhere near as good as other people. I had this whole thing about it. Didn't do it for 2 years. I can't do it. I can't do it. Can't do it. I can't face it. I'd pick up a pen and have the shakes. And then slowly getting back into it. I would do like 2 drawings a year for my wife's birthday card and my son's birthday card, which I need to do by the end of the week for him. So yeah, so I did like 2 pictures a year. So I'm trying to like do more now. I'm trying to get over that and do more again. So, but yeah, my son does more than me. He does this. He's doing a Sonic the Hedgehog fan comic.
Nice.
So yeah, he's loving Sonic the Hedgehog at the minute. So he's doing that. So yeah.
I mean, it's a shame because you've always been really good with obviously artwork and things like that. You've always been quite good with it, but like because you just don't think that you are, you don't continue with it. But as you said, exactly as you said before, that's pretty much what most people who have any sort of like want to do art, they just kind of go, don't like it.
Yeah, I've got like a lot of hobbies as well. So that's also part of it. Is like,
well, to
I
be
said
fair,
earlier, like Warhammer's my life, man. I've always got something I'm painting. I've got a guitars behind me. I play that now and again. I play games. It's like there you go. Yeah, well, you can't see it on mine, but it is there on yours. So yeah, there's just a lot of hobbies in which I can't like watch 300, 400 episodes of Bleach because got other stuff I need to do.
yeah, I mean, you could always watch Bleach in the background, but still. No, to be fair, I think if you're gonna start something like Bleach, I'm not sure on if you should. Basically, I feel like if you just watch just some of the core stuff and skip some of the other bits and pieces in between, you'd probably feel a lot better about watching it. So like,
thing is, none of it looks appealing to me. That's the thing. If I like the look of it or the look of this in the story, I probably would watch it. But none of it of what I've seen, what I've heard, or what I've watched, what I've read about it just makes me go, I'd watch that. I just think, no, that's not for me.
that's fair enough.
It's not like I'm like, oh, it's too long, I'm just not going to watch it. It really is like, I'm not going to watch it because none of it appeals to me. And like millions of people on the internet saying this is the greatest thing ever is going to change my mind because I'm very stubborn. I'm a Taurus, and Mercury's in retrograde and I can't even,
I mean, it's an amazing manga and series, but it's not for everyone. Same for what you can say about like anything really. For like obviously Bleach, Naruto, Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball's yeah,
Slam Dunk.
but it's not for everyone.
No, it's the same as like Final Fantasy VIII. It's not for everyone. Someone's got to love it though.
I mean, me and Ben Starr both love it, and if Ben Starr wants to come on this podcast and defend it with me, I'll like fight to the death with him. Me and Ben Starr, my mate Jules from What Culture, from him, he loves it. He got so passionate. I think he lost a card game on it because this is when like they had like card games and stuff in video games, side games. He bit through a PlayStation controller. If I remember the story right, he got so mad he bit through. This is like pre-Dual Shock as well. He bit into the controller and the plastic went into the roof of his mouth. If I remember right, I'll have to ask him about it.
Holy shit!
Yeah. So there's 3 people I know that like Final Fantasy VIII to that point.
I mean, right. Let's clarify. I like the game. I do.
Yeah.
It's just I like 7 better. That's how it works.
I like 7, but I like 8 better.
Yeah.
But then I like 9 better than I like 7, and I like 10 better. But that's where it ends.
I like 6.
6 is good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So 6 is really good.
4's really good as well. 4's good, where you start off with like as a bad guy and you become a paladin.
I think 4's the only one I never really played.
It was good. It was really good. I really liked 4. I really liked 4
because I know like 1, right? The first one got retold recently as what's it called?
Final Fantasy 1, the shit remake.
No. Well, yeah, basically. It was like Paradise, was it?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
No.
it was the Paradise one that where like you fight
Strangers in
chaos.
Paradise.
Strangers in Paradise, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. So like they
I
kind of
remember
did
the
like
gameplay, but I remember the title.
well, I remember the game. I played through the game and I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good.
Mm.
It just took them too long to get the DLC out, so I just kind of lost interest in it.
I think Final Fantasy and games like that, I think we'll have to come through next episode because I'm looking at this and it's already like an hour and 10 minutes.
I was just about to say the same thing.
So
So
yeah,
I think we're going to finish it here. We've got plenty of like other topics we'll come back to, obviously, on the next one. So
yeah, you got like plot points written down that we didn't even look at.
no,
so, you know.
yeah, I've got a few things that weren't even written, and I've got
Yeah.
more that I want to add to it.
Well, like we can get to that like next time,
Yeah.
can't we? Well, I say next time with bonus episodes.
I mean, to be fair, we might just sort of like, just every week we'll just sort of like, just do a few bits and pieces, see how it goes. If it keeps going, aces. If it doesn't, we tried.
I mean, everyone has a podcast, and that's us now.
Yes.
And
Everyone
if
has a
podcast.
podcast.
If everyone has a podcast, then surely some people listen to it, and some people are like, oh hell yeah, I like these two fat beard men. I have share their opinions on stuff, and he's right. Bleach is not that good.
You're going to get some people out there that are going to agree. So, this is a safe place.
Yeah. Well, is it? Because sometimes I've been saying things and I feel very attacked.
I mean, to be fair, you're a good person to sort of like have on a podcast because you've got very opposing opinions for the popularity.
I don't think I'm as nearly as passionate as I used to be. I let things go a lot more now than I used to, mainly because of my father-in-law. But that's a whole other story right there.
And I think on that
He
note,
He won't ever admit he's wrong, and so you have to say, no, you know what, you're right. The grass is yellow. That's weird, right?
oh Christ,
Because you can't, because he will argue tooth and nail. And I was like, I don't want to have a big family row. This is Sunday. I just want some nice din-dins for free. Thanks.
I didn't want the conversation. I didn't want the attacking. I just want to leave now. I'm
So
full.
yeah, you know what?
Thanks.
Absolutely, whatever you say is true. That's fine. I like him. I get on with him. We have a good time. But like, I don't want an argument with him because I won't win. Without blood on my hands.
Yeah, to be fair, even if you win, you don't win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, we should wrap up now.
Right. Okay. So, thank you very much for listening. It's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully see you again soon.
You can find this on probably YouTube. Anyway, you can find a podcast. You'll probably find this now, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's say yes.
Yeah.
Let's say yes.
Let's say
We
yes.
don't know. We're making this up as we go.
Yeah, I think
there's no script.
we might know more next week. We might know about the same amount. Who knows?
I mean, speak for yourself. I'm probably going to say, oh yeah, I'll go off and research it, and I'll do it like 2 minutes before we start.
Yeah.
I'll be on my phone as we're recording. Like, yeah, I know where to put podcasts. Where do I put podcasts?
Podcast goes. Oh, okay. Yeah. We're on.
Okay, we're on. Like we were setting this up just before we recorded.
Yeah.
So,
So this whole sort of screen and everything has only just been sort of like put together. But anyway, so thank you very much for listening, and see you again soon.